The syllabus is visible to you, Arun?
Oh, yes, ma'am.
Yeah. So basically, we have covered all the 5 modules. So with before our Corona case came into picture, we dealt with module 1 related to product lifecycle management and PDM, and some written notes were given to y'all. And later we started up with product design. We dealt. I think half of the product design was also dealt in the college only. So here we spoke about the engineering design, how to organize and decompose a product, right? The strategies involved, and also some part of concurrent engineering we gone through. And we dealt mainly of design for X methodologies. All the criterias, there are around 6 to 7 criterias. So if we meet with all those, then you call that as a design for X methodology. So that we dealt about. And then we also dealt about what are the strategies for recovering the end of the life of a particular product, how we can recycle. Every product cannot be recycled. If the product which has been manufactured is reusable and it cannot be decomposed easily, and that, and if it is environmental friendly, then only we go with the recycling of the products. So related to those also, we studied which are the products which could be recyclable and which are not, and how the human factors are interrelated in providing a beautiful product design that could be changed and that could be compatible for higher version of the designs as per the latest trends of the technology. That also we dealt. And also the modeling and simulation of a particular product before going to manufacture. So this part we had dealt with module 2. So we dealt about what you mean by engineering design. So there are different type of engineering design processes which evolved from ancient time, and now the actual design process, we usually start up with the plan. For before the plan, we just identify what is the need of the customer, then we do the plan, and then we formulate the problem definition, and then go with the objectives, and then the modeling part, simulation part, the virtual prototype if needed. If it is a new product, new innovation, then only you will go for physical prototyping, and after that you go for simulation and check it up, and then go for final manufacturing of a particular product. So different engineering design processes we dealt about. Actually, you have the materials what I shared with you before, Arun?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. So you have the PDF file or the written text with you?
PDF file I have, ma'am.
Okay, you want me to discuss related to that in depth again?
No, ma'am. No, ma'am.
What you need exactly, the fine version, the fine tune of each topic, you just let me know, I'll brush it out.
Ma'am, actually, I was absent in second module, ma'am. That's why I asked.
Okay, you were absent in second module. Second module. Okay. So because we started the PPT with the third module, and I think PDF file, can you just share me the PDF file of that module, Arun, right away?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, please share it. Hello. Is the screen visible? Hello? Hello? Hello?
Yes, ma'am, it's visible.
Word file is visible, right? Yeah. So basically in the module 2 we dealt about, I just showed you the module 2 syllabus what we have. So we started with engineering design. So you know what you mean by an engineering design, how you do the process. So usually we start up with defining the problem. So this defining the problem comes from the need of the customer, or if it is any old product, if any modification has to be done, so based on that also you'll provide the problem definition. It could be an push product, it could be an pull product, or it could be an existing product what you want to modify based on the requirement. So based on the concept of customers, the needs of the customers, you or the any innovative concept you want to put forward into the market, based on this the definition of the problem will be done. So this is the very first step. I hope Arun is here. Where he went?
No, ma'am, he has left. I don't.
Okay, just post him a message. He needed this. I just asked him to present it. You just post a message that it's presented. Just post him separately, not in a group. Okay. So ask him to join back quickly. Okay, I will explain. Fine. So based on the needs and the desires of the customers, you will define the problem. Once the problem has been defined, you have to do the background research. Means based on your idea, yeah, based on the requirement of the customers, what work is already done by the other manufacturing people? Is there any related work to the concept what you want to manufacture? So based on those, you will do a background research, so that you'll come to know whether it is totally a new concept what you are doing, or is it in existence for which you want to do the modification. So based on it, you will come to know what is the exact requirement is needed for you all to start with the process. So doing the background research is very much mandatory for any kind of the problem. If you don't do the background research properly, you will end up with the wrong directions for the flow of the project, what you have to do. So a proper literature survey based on the problem definition has to be done. So once this is done, once the background research is done, then you'll come to know what are the steps to be followed, what is the methodology you have to follow, what are the equipments required, what are the materials which are needed. So all those things should be listed out. So this will be in the third category, where it shows for specify the requirements. Okay, so once the problem is defined, you will do a proper literature survey. So based on the literature survey, you will list out which are the equipments required, which are the resource materials required. Okay, and what are the requirements which is in-house within the company, what you have to purchase it, or you have to do the outsourcing part. So all those things will be able to decide only when you give a specific section of specify the requirements based on the literature. Once this is done, then a brainstorming session will be done with the team members who are there in the company. They will do a brainstorming session, which methodology is feasible, which methodology is not feasible. Okay, so all those things, after doing brainstorming session, they will evaluate a proper flow chart, a methodology to show which are the steps to be followed in order to achieve the problem definition in the form of a solution. So the entire team has to do the brainstorming session. So this is available, this is not available, this equipments are available, some materials are not available, so they need to purchase some materials. Some technology they might be not having, so they need to outsource or they need to recruit new people who are thorough with those technical skills. So all those things, session brainstorming, they will evaluate which are the resources available with them. Based on that, they will just set up the methodologies. So once the methodology is been done, what they have to develop and check the prototype. So in between there is a correlation which will be there. So once the brainstorming session is done, the methodology is established, they will synthesize, they will develop the device, they will do the characterization, check the functional properties. If all the material properties are feasible, then they do a prototype. It could be an virtual prototype or it could be an what we say the physical prototype, a miniature, to see whether it is working properly or not. Once a prototype shows an solution with a green signal that it could be proceeded further, then only they will go for actual manufacturing. If any solution, if the physical prototype is not working properly, if the simulation results are not sufficient enough, showing good results, then again it go back to the brainstorming session to change the methodology, to find a better optimum flow chart or the methodology flow to achieve the main goal of our problem. So once all these are done, you will communicate with the results for the manufacturing unit. This could be manufactured, how many number of pieces are required. So all those will be done. So if this will follow, if the solution is satisfied. If the solution is not satisfied, it will go back to the brainstorming session, go back to redesigning, go back to checking the material properties. If you want to change the material also, that will be done. And as a result, there is a go back option and then direct solution meet, then go for the actual manufacturing of the product. So this is the basic engineering design process which takes place. So this was the first part in our module 2, what we dealt about. So it is totally an design, engineering design loop. So where it can go back to the back sections and do the required changes, satisfy the need of the customer, construct and constructive prototype, and then get the actual design and manufacturing part. If any redesign is needed also, that could be done. So this redesign and design comes with that of a design team, where they'll be having an team designer, manage team leader, who will check which design is most feasible, because within that team there will be many design engineers who come up with different conceptual designs. So the team leader should decide which design is most competitive, which design can yield as the better result. So he should be capable of identifying a best conceptual design and the best conceptual design will be proceeded further to manufacturing part. So if they ask you about the engineering design, you need to explain the entire flow and explain the process, how it happens. Okay, so this we dealt about related to the engineering design. And then there were also the other parts what we studied. It was organization design. You know, an organization could be a small organization, it could be a medium structure, or it could be an huge organization where there are n number of departments. They should be able to manage, correlate, communicate properly, and see that everything goes on systematically. And hence, designing an organization also plays an vital role. Okay. So what are the factors which affect the design of an organization? It could be the size of the company. It again depends upon what are the strategies the company is following. It could be an marketing strategy. It could be the material selection strategy. It could be related to the design strategies, how they will select and better design. Okay, how you will select and optimize material. For every selection, for every optimized result, different type of strategies have to be applied, without which blindly you cannot select any material, right? So strategy plays a vital role. So it again depends upon how big strategy they are implementing. If it is a huge company, then n number of strategies will be applied in different phases. If they are carrying out more than one project in a short, then there are different projects, different strategies, and different people, different teams. So all will be going on parallelly. So they should be knowing how to segregate the organization based on the factors which affects our basic design. And also the technology part, the environment, and the culture of the country. So based on the culture of the country means based on the needs. Depending upon the culture, the needs of the customers will be there. Depending upon the needs, you will design a product. So even the country's culture plays a vital role. Even the geographical area where the location of the company is also plays a vital role. If you have a company in a US company, the geographical location is different, the geographical needs will be different. Based on that climate condition, based on the needs, and based on the technology of US, there will be need for a particular design. If you come around for an Indian sector, based on the geographical requirements of India, the requirements will be different, the needs will be different. Again, environment and the country culture will be correlated. So based on the needs, you will define the design. So all these strategies, all these elements will be interrelated, and these are the main factors which will be affecting our design. So once one is the organization design, how they will segregate into different teams based on the type of organization it is, and based on the type of products you are going to manufacture. And when you come to the design, which are the factors which affects to the design, you should know that. And forms of an global organization design. If you have a company in India and some branches across, or if you have some mutual collaboration with other companies across the world, then you will be having a global recognition, and you will be having a growth GDP for a particular product. So all this also plays a vital role, how you have a global organization design. It also depends upon the products which is useful not only in India, across the world, and to which areas you are doing the marketing of that product, which are the strategy of the matrix you are implementing so that the product is successful in outside India and it is successful within India. And again, you'll be having the customers within India and outside India. And the functional requirements, suppose each product will be having more than one functional properties. So some people may need one or two requirements, and some across the world they might need more than one functional properties. So it depends upon all these needs, how you are doing the basic design of the product so that it will be able to satisfy more than one functional requirement. It will be able to satisfy the customers across the world, It will be able to grab the market across the world, and it will be able to grab the entire geographical area without any restriction for particular area. So if all these four are satisfied successfully, your product will be recognized across the world with good GDP. So these are the forms of global organization design one has to think about before establishing the marketing strategies, your design strategies, or the working environment, or any other needs which are needed. Okay, so this is an example for Samsung global product design. So Samsung, you had these products across the world, not only restricted to one geographical area. So their organization structure, how it was, a just rough example. So there you will be having an CEO who is called as Chief Executive Officer. So under him, there'll be different teams. One will be related with, yeah.
Ma'am, actually, it's not visible. Only single slide is visible from
Which slide is not visible? Hello.
Only
Shall I
engineering
stop
design
and
process
share it again?
still. Yeah, ma'am.
Still engineering. Now what you are able to see?
Still engineering design process, ma'am.
Hello.
Process.
Ma'am, still engineering
I'm
design
scrolling
process.
down. Are you able to see now?
No, ma'am.
Are you able to see organization design?
No, ma'am.
Then you would have told me before only, na,
No,
when I
no.
was explaining. Wait, I will stop and re-share it. Are you able to see now? Hello?
Oh, not yet, ma'am. It's process. No, ma'am, not yet. Still, it's engineering design process.
Scroll down it, ma'am.
No, I'll scroll down now. I just offed and I'm scrolling down. Can you see the changes?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, it's coming.
So, okay, you would have told me before, na? You have just listening without any slide. So this related to organization design I spoke, and I also told you factors which are affecting the design, the strategy, the technology, environment, country, and the size. I hope you have listened to the theory, right? So all these are the factors which affect the basic design, irrespective of any complexity in the design. All these plays a vital role. Then we spoke about how you recognize a product at global level. For that, design should be in such a way that it should satisfy to have more than one functional requirement. The design what you do should be suitable for any geographical area. It should not focus only for Indian geographical area. This product is applicable. It will not be satisfying for the other customers. If you make a design in such a way that you can grab a market across the world, then irrespective of the geographical area, your design will plays a vital role. And also the marketing part, how well you excel in marketing your product throughout the world, not only focusing to particular country, and how you are able to satisfy the customers irrespective of the geographical area. If your design satisfies customers across the world, then it grabs the market by default across the world. Then there'll be no controversies with respect to the geographical area variations. And if your design is capable of providing more than one functional requirement, then your product will be in the market 100% across the world with respect to good GDP. So, a designer plays a vital role in selecting the best conceptual design such that the basic design could be fine-tuned with respect to any changes which is coming across the world related to the latest technology, so that it can keep itself upgraded and satisfy the customer and gain a huge amount of profit. So it could be an existing product where you will do the fine tune on the design process, or it could be a new product which will be an innovative kind of thing which comes out for the customers. So if all these 4 key elements are satisfied in the design, then your product will be always reflected with good GDP. So that's what I was explaining. And then I told you related to the organizational structure. So this is just an example to show how one structure of an organization will be. You know, in every organization, whether it is a small company or industry or a large scale industry, they will be having some organization. There will be an head, there will be some subheads, and below the subheads, there will be a team of people who work. So all these people will be interrelated. So in a normal, medium or large scale organization, usually you will be having a CEO who is called as a chief executive officer. So under that, you will be having different departments. Since Samsung is basically an electronic device, with that example, we can say there'll be one department related to electronics. Since they manufacture many devices, they should be having some heavy equipment and machineries which are needed to make the device. So you'll be having one more department called machinery and heavy equipment group. Then, in order to get the materials needed to manufacture a product, you should be having some chemical department who will play with the materials, who will select the optimized material with good functional requirements. And as there'll be a chemical product group who will play with the materials. And in order to see the financial aspect, what is the funds existing in the company, what are the extra funds needed, how to get the funds from the government by drafting the proposal. So all these related to the financial service will be under the sector of financial service group. And these are in-house departments. Apart from that, if they need some collaborative work, if they need to outsource some technical people or any affiliations, so there'll be a separate department who will be having the affiliations with other company groups. So this will be one particular group. Okay, within that, there'll be other some services which are needed for the workers. Suppose catering service. When the people work from morning to evening, they need some food facilities. So by default, they should be having catering service. Actually, they will give the catering services to some outside people. So they outsource some catering service. All these related will be in a specific group. Hotels and resorts if they need. And if the people who are working need some relaxation, if they need some sports facilities, then they might be having some sports unit with a trained person who will help them to get professionally trained in sports also. And if something happens while working, they need some immediate medical facilities. So they can also make an option for hospital and medical center within the organization such that they keep the workers comfortable enough so that they can dedicate their entire time for doing the work with good amount of concentration. So this is an design of an organization. If they ask you to explain an organization design structure, you can basically draft how an organization structure looks like. You can take any example of any company who are well versed and explain it with an example. Usually the questions will be in the form of generalized way where you have to understand the concept, write in your own word with an example that will fetch you the maximum marks. Okay, so this is one more example for the organization structure. I've just explained you one. And then we had dealt about the functional decomposition, how to decompose the organization structure, right? That we told. So you need to understand what do you mean by decomposition. So once the design process, as we told, is been developed and you know what are the process to be done, right? And you know how an organization looks like and you know the methodology, what to be done based on the design process. So once you know this, you should be having some people who will work on it. Only when the people work on the flow, then only you can get the end result. So how you will provide the task for the people to work? You should assign some task. To assign some task, you should be having some schedule. You should assign some work packages, and those work packages will be for individual worker who works. For that, the main work, suppose the main problem definition of your project is to design a car. The entire workload for designing a car cannot be thrown into a single person, right? So manufacturing a car will be having n number of objectives. It's not necessary that each objective could be done with a single task. No, every objective will be huge enough so that you should segregate into different tasks. So the main task, suppose to manufacture the car, there'll be 5 objectives. One is you have to embed it with the beautiful chassis, and you should see how the ergonomics of the design you are using and how attractive the car design looks like, which type of material you are using in order to manufacture the car. So there will be n number of objectives. So each objective will be having huge amount of load to complete, and all load cannot be done by a single person. For that, you should decompose that into subtasks. So that's what is being told here. Each objective will need n number of functional requirements, and those functional requirements cannot be handled in a single person, and hence the functional requirement will be decomposed into subtasks. So here you can say subtask 1, 2, 3, and 4. It depends upon how big the task assigned is. Based on that, depending upon the time availability, depending upon the people available for the work, and depending upon their technical skills, the task can be decomposed into subtasks. So you should be knowing what do you mean by functional decomposition, and you should explain it. Apart from that, you should be knowing one more word called as recursive decomposition. So this happens if the project is huge and every objective is huge, so that even the subtask could not be carried out with the assigned team. It is not like subtask 1 will be carried out with a single person. They'll be having a group of 5 or 10 people who will be working on each subtask. Even if the subtask is too huge to carry out, so that has to be again segregated or again decomposed. So those decomposition, you call it as recursive decomposition. So again, you will call that as subtask 1.1, 1.2, 1.3. It is not necessary that each subtask has to be decomposed again. If the subtask 1 is huge, it will be decomposed again. And if it is normal, if it can be done by a team of 4 to 5 people, then it could be done easily. And again, if the subtask 4 is very complicated, huge load, and again it can be decomposed. So second decomposition is always called as an recursive decomposition. This you should be knowing. Okay. So this is just an example of automated pencil sharpener. So how to do it? Any example you can take and do the explanation. So one thing you should know: engineering design process, organization design. What are the key elements in the design to make your product globally representative? What do you mean by functional decomposition, recursive decomposition? Explain with the example. Okay. These are just the examples, which is and one more thing related to the final design process. So once the actual design and the screening elements are done, so the basic idea generation will be shown here. So here you will put, once the groundwork is done, the literature is done, the final process, how you launch the product right from the idea. So this will be described here. So this cannot be done in the beginning. In the beginning, you do the engineering process, fine tune, set right, see the results, everything. Then only you will come for the final design, what you have followed. So here you will show, based on the idea you have generated, what R&D facilities you are using for the idea, which are the suppliers you are using for any materials or any other type of requirements of the equipments whatsoever, if idea is generated by the need of the customer. Okay. Along with this, marketing also plays a vital role. How you are campaigning your ideas. Marketing starts right from the beginning of idea generation to that of the launch of the product. Okay, so it is not like you will do the marketing only when the product is on the market. It starts here itself. And at the time of marketing, you should put an eye on your competitors. Who are your competitors? Okay, if you have similar products which are being manufactured by the other competitors, how you will overcome their ideas, how your ideas will be better than them, and how well you do the marketing so that you can push your market faster than that of the existing competitors. All these things, what you're doing, the actual work will be displayed over here. Okay, so you'll be having n number of ideas based on the background study what you do. So after this, the screened ideas only will be selected. Okay, so here the company CEO sitting with other project manager and the quality aspect engineer, they will screen out which are the ideas which are economical and feasible to do the manufacturing part. It's not mandatory that all the ideas generated will be economical and manufacturable. Only which are feasible and economical will be screened. So these screened ideas will be studied and a feasibility report will be done. Out of these screened ideas, which has highest potentiality, which has medium potentiality, which has the least potentiality. So based on the priority of potentiality, then they will select which idea is the best for that particular situation to proceed with the design and manufacturing. Okay, so based on the feasibility study, a preliminary design will be done. So it includes an actual form design, a functional design part, and a production design part. So all these three will be interrelated, and any revising will be done based on the testing what you are checking, either on simulation or on physical or virtual prototype. So based on the revisions and based on the prototype testing, the actual design specifications will be given and the products will be manufactured. So when it is started with the manufacturing, the delivery specifications also will be enclosed. So once these two goes on systematically, the single product which is manufactured will be tested. So once it is tested and satisfied with the customer requirement, and they also check the trial of how the product runs, whether their all satisfactions are mapped or not. If it is yes by everything, then the launch of the new product gets started. In each phases, parallelly, the company will be doing the marketing campaign and they'll be investing a large amount of product during the campaigning part. Okay, so it happens until the product is launched into the market, and this marketing continues until the sales starts increasing. So once the sales start increasing, the marketing part of it will reduce, slow down. When it is in the maturity stage, the marketing part will come down. So this is the stamped design process what we follow after the background studies based on the ideas or the problem definition which will be done. So you should be able to explain all these. So this is about the product design process. And also we studied about what do you mean by concurrent engineering, what are the advantages of concurrent engineering, right? Concurrent engineering itself is a huge vast area. You have only a topic related to concurrent engineering in your module 2. So you just focus what you mean by it. So you know the word concurrent engineering is also called as integrated product development. In short, you can call it as IPD, or it is an simultaneous engineering where you will do more than one work together so that you can do many phases simultaneously. So to do simultaneously, the company should be well versed with making parallel works together. or if they are not able to do the parallel works together, it will be very difficult to manage things, because when the process starts, there will be some difficulties in between. Sudden accidents can come into picture, sudden shortage of materials, yeah, lack of equipments. So if it is going on parallelly, they should be able to manage well. For that, they should be having a trained project manager and trained Six Sigma professional, experienced people, so that they can manage and work parallelly. Okay, so we dealt about this also, and we spoke about what are the advantages of concurrent engineering. So usually they just ask you to define concurrent engineering, explain how it is carried out with an example, and list out its advantages and disadvantages. So if you know the concept, you can write by your own words. So usually the plus points are it encourages multidisciplinary collaborative works. Okay, it reduces the product cycle time, because many phases can be started parallelly. So the time amount required will be reduced. Since you're doing work together, there will be a chance of reducing the required amount of cost to manufacture the product also. Since you're reducing the product life cycle, obviously it increases the quality by supporting the entire project cycle. Project cycle, it helps in increasing the profit, the time period is reduced and cost is reduced, and as a result the profit will be high. And since the quality managers are also together, it also helps in enhancing the quality of the product. And since it is covered within a small period of time, it helps to increase the productivity rate. Suppose in actual sequential engineering, which is done one by one, so if the phases are done one by one, it requires a large period of time. The investment for each phase also will be there, and hence the quality aspect cannot be checked individually. It takes time period, investment will be more, and so quality will not be focused to that aspect. Okay, only at the end when the product is manufactured, they check the quality, whether it is working properly or not. At that case, you cannot assure 100% quality. But since here it is happening parallelly, a quality has to be checked in each and in all the phases which are doing out parallelly. So they focus more on quality aspects also. And hence, since the quality aspect is more, the amount of scrap will be less. Since it is done in short period of time, the mistakes also will be reduced, and as a result the productivity will be high, the sales and profit will be high. Since the product reaches the market at a shorter period of time, they can grab more amount of market in short period of time. So these are all the advantages of concurrent engineering. And then comes the disadvantages. The main disadvantage, it is very complex to manage. If it is a new company and if they are starting with concurrent engineering, it is very difficult to manage, because the company initially should start, take up a small project, go by sequential order, learn by the experience, learn by the mistakes what they have done, and then only they will come to know how to work, how to manage time, and then they'll come to know, instead of going with sequential, they can go some process parallelly. Then they should go for concurrent. If they go immediately, it will be very difficult for them to manage. So this is one part, complex to manage. And it relays on every working people together. Okay, so maintaining a good communication with all the groups together parallelly is also critical. But they can manage, that's what, with experience you will come to know all this. And there might be a chance of mistakes in different departments or disciplines related to any departments. It could be either electrical, mechanical, or any software part. Okay, so this is about concurrent engineering and how it will be correlating with all the products parallelly. And then is design for X. This design for X plays a vital role. I had explained you this in the class also. So when you tell, I'll explain this in the next class. It's already near to 12. I'll just throw some light on design for X. Actually, you will tell the product is manufactured based on design for X, if it has satisfied all these criteria: design for manufacturing, design for assembly, design for reliability, design for maintainability, design for serviceability, design for environment, and design for life cycle cost. So the design what you manufacture should be very easy for manufacturing. It should be very easy for assembly. It should be very reliable design. Maintainability also should be very easy. The serviceability should be in ease. It should be eco-friendly. And the life cycle cost should not be very high. So if they follow all these design elements, then you say that the product is manufactured as per design for X methodology. Even question related to design for X usually come in every question paper. Sometimes they can ask you to list out all the criteria for satisfying design for X and explain or write a short notes on few criteria. They can mention for design for manufacturing or design for assembly. Then you should be able to explain all the criteria and the short notes related to the criteria what they have asked to explain. So related to design for X, I will explain you in the next class. Okay. Arun, hope you understood.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, tomorrow also you kindly attend. I will just cover up the remaining part of the module 2. And Shankar, you are here?
Yes, ma'am, I'm here.
Yeah, hope you understood.
Yes, I understood.
Yeah, please ask others to join in tomorrow's class. Okay, so they will only be benefited. We can just revise with respect to question paper also module wise. So you'll be having a link and connectivity how to manage when you get some generalized questions. Okay.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay, ma'am.
Yeah, Arun and
remaining.
yeah, please type your name and USN number in the chat room. Arun and Shankar. Name and USN number.
Ma'am,
Hello.
ma'am, I have a question.
Please tell me.
How you planned in this 20 to 30 up to 30? What you planned?
Hello?
How you are going to? Hello, ma'am. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Please tell me.
Ma'am, how you planned this tutorial you are telling? From 20 to
Yeah.
up to 30, right? Up to August 1st you are teaching.
Yes.
So will you cover all the topics from first to fifth module?
Yes, it depends upon the student's requirement, which modules they need to revise as per the question, because I thought I will revise all the modules. And if it is any other requirement from the students, like Arun did not attend the class for second module, he suggested me to explain for second module. I started with second module. If you people need, I can revise all the modules. Once the module is being covered, we will just discuss the question paper questions. Okay. So because in this subject, usually you get generalized question. You should be knowing the concept and some examples. We have dealt with the case studies already related to the each module. So please go through it also. So as an example, you can explain based on the questions asked. And if any other suggestions you need and any other type of information you need related to the modules of PLM, as per your requirement also, I can change and explain to you.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay. Any other suggestions regarding?
No, nothing, ma'am.
Ma'am, it is better to revise all modules, ma'am.
Hello?
Hello, ma'am.
Ma'am,
Can you hear?
One by one, please.
Okay, carry on, Arun.
Ma'am, it's better to revise all modules, ma'am.
Okay, no problem. We have started with the module 2. Let us cover module 2.
Yes,
then we'll go with module 1. And then we'll start up with 3, 4, and 5. Okay?
Okay, ma'am.
Yeah, fine then.
If you explain all the modules, it's good for us, ma'am, because we didn't attend any single classes before what you have taught.
Why you did not attend the classes?
At that time, we have so many.
Hello?
Due to network issue, ma'am. Actually, I was in my hometown, ma'am. I will be having some network problem.
Okay. So you both have not attended any of the classes then?
No, ma'am. I was only attended.
Sometimes I have attended, but
Okay, I will explain. No. Okay.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
No problem. You attend
Okay,
the
thank you,
class.
ma'am.
No problem. You attend the class regularly. I will explain. Okay. Yeah, yeah.
Okay, okay, ma'am.
Yeah. And one more thing, Arun.
Fine.
Arun, one more thing. Listen.
Yes, ma'am.
I have shared the
Yes, ma'am.
PPTs and video recording in the YouTube channel, and all the links are provided in the Google Classroom also. Okay. So you people can go through that also, and I will explain in my regular classes also, so that you will be knowing the
Okay, ma'am.
information what you have missed also. Okay.
Okay, ma'am.
Yeah, then.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay, see you
Thank you.
tomorrow then. Yeah, bye bye.
Bye, bye.
Yeah, attend the tomorrow's class. Bye bye.
Okay, bye, ma'am.
Bye.